Morning, guys. I thought just do a quick video on some of the news that came out this morning from Report. Obviously, colleagues of mine, a friend of mine, Hendrik Cronje's article, and he's normally very accurate and worthy of a follow. So if you haven't already, follow him on social media. But he's normally got the inside ear, and he's probably one of the few guys who has the scope or seems to do the work, the legwork, to find out what's going on going forward for the Box. Now, there's obviously they won in Perth, double win there in Brisbane and Perth. Come back, they're top of the log of the rugby championship at the moment. Um, Certainly in a very good space. They made 10 changes. Their youngsters performed in terrible weather, horrible situation, very difficult circumstances to play in, but they came out and they won. So that's great for them as well. So yeah, so there's a lot of positives going back, but now they head home. So they're off till sort of Wednesday, Thursday. I think they get together again on Thursday in Joburg. They'll have a couple of training sessions and then let the guys go for the weekend. And then it's a full week of build up for the All Blacks who will arrive closer to the weekend to face the Box. Now, the All Blacks, as we know, Scott Robertson lost his first test against Argentina. They bounced back on Saturday very impressively against them as well. In terms of that first half, they were up 30 points in the first half, and certainly are coming to South Africa with a point to prove. Um, so let's have a look quickly at just who's going to be back, who's in focus, and what the more or less the squad's going to look like when the Box get back to South Africa. Yeah, Russell will probably announce it later on in the week, sometime Tuesday, Wednesday. We're expecting it around about then. But there'll be a couple of old names coming back, so let's have a look at just who we reckon is going to come back. Okay, first of all, injury list. Let's have a look at the injuries. The first guys who are back, Stephen Kitsoff played for Western Province this weekend, did pretty well. From what I didn't see most of the game, I was still busy with the Springbok stuff. But yeah, he looked like he came through all right. So Kitsi will be back, and he's a long-term big part of this team as well. So he'll expect him to be back and be in the match day 23 somewhere, depending on his fitness, depending on what they feel if he's ready, but he should be back. Of course, the other two to come back from suspension, Jasper Visser and Andre Esterhuizen. Jasper Visser got a 6-week ban in his last game for dropping a player on his head in for Leicester Tigers. Missed all the tests so far. He's going to be back. Expect him to come back into the number 8 role for the Box for the next 2 tests against the All Blacks. He is the guy in the squad, the World Cup winner. So I reckon he'll be that guy to come in. Andre Esterhuizen, of course, had the terrible red card. Unfortunate clash of heads against Portugal, but he'll be back as well. Whether he'll get in the mix, the Box midfield is quite full at the moment, depending on how they want to play, but he'll be back in the squad. Canan Moody was back for the Bulls, has played now 2 games for the Bulls, and while he didn't look that much sharp on Friday against the Pumas, he certainly is back in contention, and he has a history of playing very well against the All Blacks. Remember that game against them at Twickenham. Jaden Hendrickson is also back, played for the Sharks this weekend as well over his injury. So those 5 players will join the squad. How big that squad's going to be waits to be seen. We obviously got a couple of players who are out injured as well. Let's go through those, the ones that won't be coming back. The big news this morning, I'm going to go into that quickly. The big news today, of course, on the injury front was Faf de Klerk in report saying that he might only rejoin the Box next year because his thigh injury is a lot worse than expected. So yeah, if Faf's out till next year, normally in the past, it just shows you what a great spot we are in Springbok rugby at the moment, and how much depth there is, because in the past, we used to have an injury like this, a key frontline player, and it would be a mini crisis in the Box. We'd have all sorts of editorials written, all sorts of pundits going, "What's going on? Are they going to cope without the guy?" But now, just like the other day, we had Evan Roos who went for a shoulder op. And it was a minor story, but it wasn't a major story. Same with Faf. I don't think it's going to be a major story. There's a lot of depth at the moment. Grant Williams, Jaden Hendricks is back, and Cobus Reinach's there as well. Morne van der Berg as well has played now 2 tests. So there's definitely enough players to replace them. And there's a couple of players on the side. If you think of unlucky players like Emrose Papir and Sanele Nohamba, there are definitely players waiting in the wings that could easily come into that role as well. But those, yeah, there's enough depth there for Faf. So Faf is the big injury that we've heard about. On the lock side, there's obviously a couple of injuries. Lua Diaga has been out and looks like he's only going to be back in December from the recent media reports. And then, also Franco Mostert, who broke his leg against Ireland. He's also out for a while. It seems like he might be back against the Pumas in a couple of weeks' time. So it looks like his recovery is a lot better than we expected. So he might be back sooner rather than later. But there is a bit, they are a bit thin at lock at the moment. You might see some of those locks, Solomon and Ruan Nokia staying in there. Of course, they've got Erkes name on who didn't play this weekend as well. So those are the injury lists. And of course, Damien Willems is the other one who I haven't mentioned. He, of course, should also be back in a couple of weeks' time. Don't expect him to be out for too long, but they might phase him in depending. Don't expect him to be there for the two All Black tests. And then I guess we're going to have to ask questions about what about those players who missed out on the trip to Australia that were part of the box squad earlier in the season? Will we see them come back for the All Blacks? And I personally don't think they're going to be in the mix now. You probably see them more back against Argentina. Evan Reyes, of course, went for the shoulder up, so he's out for a while. Trevor Nakani's been playing for the Sharks. Andre Hufenta been playing for the store or the Western Province, should I say? Ruan Fenter from the Lions, Kieran Horn from the Lions, Jordan Hendricks, who's now a Shark. There's another guy, Pepsi Buthelezi, and the Tuku Mchunu. Those are the 8 players, and I don't think we're really going to see any of them come in. I'd be surprised. Trevor Nakani, perhaps, but I think the Boks are probably going to keep what they have at the moment, and we might see one or two of them come in, well, a couple of them come in against Argentina. There's more scope to make some changes there. And then the question goes, what about some other players? Those that didn't make the squads for Bloemfontein, for the Irish and Portugal games and on the fringes. At the moment, I don't think there's really many candidates who can probably walk into the squad at the moment. They're going to have to play a lot. Of course, the name that always comes up is Cameron Honeycomb. He's been training with the Bulls again. He's almost back to fitness, although I don't think we'll see him now for the All Black test. I think if we're going to see him, we're probably going to see him come in for Argentina, although there's a lot of competition at loose forward at the moment. And he really had a great URC season. And I know they want to get him involved at some point, but just when will be the question. And we'll probably hear a bit more about that in the next couple of weeks, a bit more about his situation. But at the moment, he's training with the Bulls. He's not part of the squad, and I don't expect him to come in this week as well. Uh, I suppose we'll get a bit more clarity about where exactly Rossi and them see him as well. Then the other guys who were in this standby group, Ruben van Heerden from the Stormers, Jean-Luc Dupré, and another name that came up who played for the Boks a year or so ago, Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg. Those are the players that are still being mentioned, mainly because there's a bit of a shortage at lock. But yeah, at the moment, unless there's some real injuries, unless Solomon is worse than we expected, or there's something that we don't know at this moment, I'd say it's probably a bit of a long shot to see them come in. So if you're about to predict a squad for New Zealand, I'd say it'd probably be around about 33, 35 players. Of course, they can always bring players in to train with them. We might see a couple of players like Kieran Horn and those guys come and train with the Boks, not officially part of the squad, but train with them while they're in Joburg and a couple in Cape Town as well. But I'm not expecting too many changes. I think if you go back to the team that played against Ireland, the team that played in Brisbane, the 23 players there, you're going to probably see the bulk of the squad. And then you add those 4 players who are coming back into contention, those 4, 5 players, 5 players, sorry, the 2 suspensions, and then Kanan, Jaden, and who was the other one? Kanan and Kinsel, of course. How did I forget him? Those 3 and Andre Estes and Jasper Wiese, those 5 that come. So if you take those 23 that were against them in Brisbane, that's 28. There'll always be scope for a third hooker, so I think Johanna Krobler would stay there as well. Jan Hendrik Wessels, not sure if he'll stay there. If I think of a couple of the newbies here who I think might stay. Yeah, if you look at it, Ulrich Loh might stay as well. Apelele Fossi might cover that, although they might have Q and Horn there. I don't think Apelele will make it for the All Black games. Sasha will be around there just because his versatility, and I think Marnie will probably also be around. Uh, Morne van der Berg, they always need a third scrum half, but with Kobus there and Grant Williams, and they might decide to keep him around, but I'm not sure he's going to get any game time against the All Blacks. Marco van Staden is a player that's been part of their World Cup squad, so I reckon he'll probably be there. Ruan Lockyer, maybe because of the lock shortage, he'll stay as well. Him and Salman Marat. And the other two is obviously Johan Problo, who I said I think will stay as the third hooker, and Jan Hendrik Wessels might get a train with them. They might keep more players with them, and it makes sense if they do. But I think if you're looking for the team against the All Blacks, take those 5 players returning at 23 in Brisbane, and then you've got pretty close to other 28 players will be involved. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. This has been just a quick update of the news. We'll get the squad sometime this week, I'm sure, and we can talk a bit further once that's named as well. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you think somebody should come in or who you agree or disagree with in the comments below. I do read them all. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Trying to get it going and build a bit of a community. Always great to chat to you. Cheers.